Hello there, friends, and welcome to episode 58 of That One Gaming Podcast. My name is Colin, but I'm otherwise known around the web as Delicious Morsels, and here with me today is Lucas, aka Carnevil9. How is Lucas doing today?
I'm no longer a janitor.
Hoorah! Congratulations on your new occupation. I didn't know that was going to rhyme when I started that sentence.
I know. Congrats, Lucas.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, here's Neal, better known as VMK89. How's Neal?
Hello. I'm doing pretty swell.
Swell indeed. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or one of the many other podcasting platforms out there where the three of us get together every other week to talk about a variety of topics in the world of gaming. And in this episode, we will be chatting about edutainment games, or games with an educational twist. Mostly computer games, but sometimes making their ways to console, these games sought to present educational topics in a fun way in an effort to alleviate the stigma often felt by parents toward video games being a waste of time, air quotes on the waste of time there, for their kids. Their educational nature also made them popular among schools looking to introduce new creative ways to teach. And we are going to be discussing some of our personal favorites from growing up, as well as our thoughts on the genre as a whole. But before we get into that, we like to talk about the games that we have been playing since the last episode. So Lucas, what have you been playing?
Phantasy Star Online. Still.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
How many characters are you at now?
I'm still the 4 characters, the 3 characters that I'm not recording my playthrough with, and the 1 character I am recording. But I have since beaten episode 1 on hard mode with my Raka Seal and my phone numeral.
Nice.
Or wait, no, I think I have 1 more quest with my phone numeral. But yeah,
I discovered music discs for the first time last night.
Yeah.
And it was Open Your Heart from Sonic Adventure.
Hey.
And I was like, yo! So I went through an entire dungeon with that song, and I was like, hell yeah, this slaps.
Nice.
That, of all the Sonic lyrical tunes, that is my favorite.
It is very good.
Most people will say Live and Learn is better, but disagree.
I like Open Your Heart more.
Yeah.
Nice.
That song is it's great. And it made me sad when I went to a new area and the song turned off and I couldn't figure out how to turn it back on.
Yeah.
Are those discs one-time use, or are they stored in like a special place once you use them?
I think they are one-time use.
That's so dumb. That's sad. I want to go into every dungeon listening to Open Your Heart. It'd be so good.
Yeah.
Well, there's this thing called Spotify.
True. But then it doesn't have the intelligent looping that they had set up for this version of the song.
That's true. It probably doesn't. I'm sure you could find a 10-hour Open Your Heart.
Shouldn't be
YouTube.
Honestly, hard difficulty is kind of where the fun begins, because it's where you can get rare item drops occasionally on normal mode, but hard mode is where they really start introducing them. Yeah. Also, they've got I guess probably the closest analog to it that I can think of off the top of my head to compare it to would probably be like Final Fantasy's free company system. But in PSO, you can form teams. So, like, any listeners out there playing on the Affinia Blueburst server, hit me up.
We have a team.
We have a team. I can add you to it. I'm currently in first place point-wise.
Surprise.
Yep. But yeah, in order to earn team points, you kind of sacrifice rare items. Like, under the team menu, you can select rare weapons, rare armors, that sort of stuff, and cash them in for a set amount of points depending on like the rarity of the item. So like I have traded in so many Club of Laconium and Fire Scepter Agni, because that has basically been like all of the rare drops I have gotten with my four.
Is there like a team storage system for easily passing stuff between one another?
There is for like your characters, but not really between players.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Because like,
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy 14's got like company chests, so it's like anyone could put money or items and stuff in them, and then anyone can take stuff out and stuff.
Yeah.
Makes it really useful when you're trying to buy a house and one person in your free company is particularly good at making money, and they make so much money that you've got literally like billions of gil in your bank, and then you just when you're trying to buy a house, because it works on a lottery system, the best way to do it is to get everybody in your free company to go and put it and buy a ticket for that lot. And so we basically just filled up our company chest because one of our free company members is like really, really good at making money. So she just buys everything for us. So we all just grabbed a chunk of money to pay for a ticket, and we all got a ticket and we all lost.
Bummer.
Yeah. But then you get your money back if you don't win the lottery. So we just put it all back in the chest and
that's good.
wait until another lot shows up that looks attractive.
Yep.
Who knew that buying property in a video game would be just as stressful as buying property in real life?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how or what options are available in PSO off the top of my head for like trading items between players. It's like this is the longest stretch that I have played specifically Blue Burst.
Huh.
Almost everything else has been on GameCube for the last 20 years. So like if I had rare items that I was passing along to my friend Ryan, it's like drop them on the ground for him to pick up.
Yeah, that's kind of how we did it that one night.
Yeah.
We were passing items between each other. I discovered something that I have never done. I had no idea it was even a thing in this game this past week. And the entire mission, from the moment you click on it, starts playing the song Burning Rangers.
Central Dome Fire Swirl.
Yes. Apparently it was because I've only ever played PSO on the Dreamcast. And I've never been able to play it hooked up to the internet to download stuff. And this was apparently a download quest on the Dreamcast, whereas in every subsequent version of this game, Blue Burst included, you unlock this mission once you do all the side missions for the forest area.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never seen this mission before in my life. So I click on it and this song starts playing. And Lucas, I know you've shared it with us before because I recognized it.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, yo, let's go. And then it played for the whole mission. And I was like, yo, let's go. And then that mission took me like over an hour.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out there's like the entire object of this mission is like the forest is on fire and you had to go put out the fires. So they like give you a special ability with any blaster type weapon, any kind of gun gains the ability to put out fires. So you go around and you just shoot at a bunch of flames and stuff, but eventually you get to a group of 4 flames at the end of the level that will not go away no matter how much you shoot them. And I was like, what is going on? And then finally, after like probably 15 minutes of Googling and not finding anything, I discovered that there's a sequence that you had to shoot them in.
Oh my God.
Just those ones. It's only those ones. There's a specific sequence you had to shoot them in. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
God.
Yep, I know exactly what room you're talking about. It's
Uh-huh.
the one right before the central dome.
Yep, and it doesn't help that like when you first get there, it spawns in like 12 waves of enemies, and you
Yes.
just get swarmed for like
That
15
room is enemy
minutes.
soup.
It's awful.
Okay,
and
But
okay.
God, the music was so good.
The warp right before that too, it's got like
Yes.
what is that, 3 or 4 waves of almost
Yeah.
entirely gigaboomas?
It was pure hell.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, but you're a
And-
ranger, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I'm a force,
yeah.
and I can't use
You
techniques.
can't use techniques.
Yep.
Yeah.
Techniques
Yeah.
are banned throughout
Yep.
this quest.
Rip.
This was what
Uh,
I was playing last night, and I lost my mind.
Yeah.
Because my cane was
Understandable.
my best cane was doing like 16 damage to most
Oh.
enemies.
Yeah.
The only gun I had was doing like max 7.
Ooh.
It was awful.
That's
Yeah.
brutal.
The gameplay just became hitting the attack button and nothing else
Yep.
Uh-huh.
for like 2 hours, I want to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
It was rough.
And I didn't figure out that that was the sequence, so I was just killing enemies. And at one point, I was like, "Okay, I need to move my computer somewhere else because this is making me crazy." And when I did that, I didn't realize I had left my computer unplugged.
Oh no.
Oh. Oof.
So it died, and I didn't finish that quest. So I'm gonna go back to it and do it all over again.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Good experience, but I mean, bleh.
But hey, at least Burning Rangers is a good song.
Here's the other thing: I have the music
It's
muted,
still
so I
stuck in
didn't
my
even
head.
Oh man.
Aw. It's still stuck in my head.
I'm turning it
Burning
on.
Rangers.
Turning it on for this next time I do that, but I need a minute. That
Yeah.
I will say, after about a half an hour, I was like, "Oh my God, kill me!"
was.
Yeah. See,
But it's
it-
still a good song.
It wasn't so bad on GameCube, as weird as that sounds. Cause like the Central Dome Fire Swirl unlocks at like after you complete every other quest in the game
Yeah.
instead of once you've completed the forest quests, like on Blueburst.
Oh, you mean every quest?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like a design decision with Affinia or if that's just how it was with Blueburst's one-player mode. But
Yeah, it must be just a Blueburst thing, because it would make sense for it to unlock after everything.
yeah,
With it, it was originally meant to be downloaded, so it would be under the
Yeah.
assumption that you'd completed the game by the time it even comes out.
Yeah. So, like, you know, if you're playing as a force and it's like the very last quest you do before you go beat the game normally, like, it's not so bad because you've got a whole, like, at that point, you're probably sitting somewhere in like the high 20s, maybe level 30. So, like, it's not as bad, but yeah, but this quest is definitely a struggle bus for forces or even like your more technique reliant hunters and rangers. Plus, you know, forces already have it bad enough with like probably having the highest demand for recovery items. And, like,
yeah, I was starting to panic. I'm like, I'm running out of monomate, or I ran out of monomates. I was using what is the second one called?
Dimate.
Just Dimate. Yeah, I was using up my
Die,
Dimates.
mate!
But yeah, I need a break from PSO.
I don't. I have it open right now.
Yeah.
I was really feeling that this week too, because I was trying to get some time. I had all week off of work, so I was trying to get some PSO in. I was trying to get some other projects done, and one of them was editing a podcast that's actually going to be up tomorrow as of when we're recording this. But I did 2 very, very long missions in a row. And it really took some steam out for me. There was the Burning Rangers one, which was it was not a long mission if I knew what I was doing, but I didn't. So it was a long mission. And then the first mission I did for Cave addicting food, and you're supposed to go through and find this food stand in the cave because the client wants a piece of cake. And these people, these bakers are like, well, they won't let us sell our cake on Pioneer 2, so we had to go down to the planet to sell it. So they go all the way to the back of this stupid cave full of monsters and more monsters. And they go all the way to the back of the cave to sell cake. What are you doing? It took so long. Oh my goodness. That mission was a slog and a half. Because you literally have to go all the way to cave 3 for that. It's nuts. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. That quest is one long, elaborate Phantasy Star on the Master System reference.
Oh god.
Yep. In Phantasy Star 1, you do in fact have to like venture into a dungeon to find a cake shop.
Weird.
Okay, that's amazing. They didn't have to make it this elaborate though. Jeez.
Yeah.
And then the next mission I did after that, I had to escort this chick to the waterfall, which is in cave 2. And every time she gets hit, she uses a healing item. And the gimmick is that she's fat and she doesn't want to face her fiance. So she wants to get some exercise in the cave. And every time she gets hurt, she eats a healing item.
That quest is cringe.
It sure is a mission of all time. That's for sure. It is a quest of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that one was really long. Not as long as the one the food one, but also long.
Yeah.
So Cave has been great so far, guys.
Yeah.
We'll probably get into it a lot more.
Yeah, the thing with the cave quests too is that like caves and ruins both have 3 areas in them, while forest and mines only have 2. So like a lot of the caves quests are just inherently longer because there's more caves than elsewhere. Of course, weirdly
too many
enough,
caves.
The ruins quests are all fairly short for the most part.
Good. But yeah, we'll probably get into it even more detailed actually in our next episode.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be that one game, Phantasy Star Online. So look forward to that in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But Neal, have you been playing anything other than PSO?
Yeah. I've gotten pretty far in Sonic Generations.
Ooh.
I have beaten all the levels themselves, like the main 3 levels for each 3 eras. Planet Wisp is kind of rough. Specifically, the 3D version, modern Planet Wisp is pretty rough, but it is technically the last level of the game before the final boss, so it makes sense. I will say Rooftop Run from Unleashed, the Generations version, absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
I can't speak for it myself, but I have heard that Rooftop Run in Unleashed is the best level of that game as well, which makes sense why they picked it for Generations. Such good music, such a cool location. Yeah, it's just a ton of fun. It's harder than some of the earlier levels, obviously, but it's still like one that I've just replayed because it's that much fun. But yeah, I still need to do between each 3 levels. You unlock a bunch of like mini challenges that take place in different parts of each level, and they're like twists on something that happened in the level. Like there's one where I forget what level it is, but one level where you go through the level and collect chow and try to do it faster than cream. And so like the layout is slightly modified, but there's lots of little challenges like that. Sometimes it's just as simple as beat a certain time, or it'll be like, I don't know, just gimmick. It's mostly gimmicky stuff.
I love gimmicks in Sonic games.
It's not too bad. It's yeah, and they give you like a wide variety for every single one. So like you can, if you don't like a particular level, you don't have to beat that one. You just have to beat one of each zone. So yeah, but I have not done that for these last sets of levels, and after that I have to actually hang on. No, I did that because I unlocked the penultimate boss, which is the one from Unleashed. I just have to finish that off, and then you can face the Time Eater boss, which I'm not looking forward to because that is the absolute low point of Sonic Generations. The Supersonic boss fight against it is awful.
Bad final bosses in Sonic games.
Yeah. I don't know what happened with Sonic Generations final boss. Like the whole game is like A+ Sonic gameplay, and then it's like, here's a terrible final level that also not only is like confusing and you're not sure what to do and can go on for way longer than it should because you don't know what you're supposed to do at each phase. But also all your Sonic buddy friends have been rescued at this point and are constantly talking.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's not great.
Sonic, do a barrel roll.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's not great, but the game preceding it is great. So, still the best 3D Sonic game out there, and it came out like 15 years ago.
A long time ago.
And
now it's coming out again.
Yeah, yeah, with Shadow.
Shadow.
That looks. Have you guys seen any of the gameplay trailers for that?
I have not.
I watched the first one. Like not the reveal, the first one after the reveal trailer. I mean,
did you see the Shadow gameplay?
I saw some of it.
Yeah,
it's all right. Not enough guns.
Not enough guns, no. But he's got like alien powers from like the Black Doom stuff. Weird looking, but I am excited for it, and I absolutely would like to have a way to play Sonic Generations on my Switch. So
I hope he's voiced by Keanu Reeves.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too, but that'd be pretty funny.
No, I'm pretty sure they're just going to use whoever the current Shadow actor is.
Yeah. But he is voiced by Keanu Reeves in the new movie, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That trailer looks good.
It does. You guys notice also that, like, I mean, they've kind of been working in this direction with the first two films, but they've been gradually focusing more and more on just Sonic and his friends and less and less on the human element. I mean, the second movie still had that, like, the wedding scene, which was like a pretty long, like, human-centric diversion, but it was more like focused in on Sonic still, regardless.
And
this
Sonic
one
and
is
Tails
like
do
that,
show up in the wedding scene.
Yeah, like that whole Sonic 3 trailer, though. I mean, I know it's a trailer. They're cutting like very small chunks of the film together in a very small trailer. But that was still 3 solid minutes of nothing but Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and freaking Keanu Reeves' Shadow. And it was sick.
Apparently the Knuckles show was not great and very minimally featured Knuckles.
Yeah, I have heard very mixed things about that too.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just the difference in budgets.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, because the show has a different budgetary constraint than a television or than a movie usually does. I don't know. I still had the Blu-ray pre-ordered, so I'll be able to judge for myself once that gets here, which will actually comes out next like 10 days.
Yeah.
September 10 is the release date.
You should stream it.
Hell yeah. I can do it. I don't care. That one gaming podcast official Discord viewing party of Knuckles
Yes.
the TV series.
It's probably not great, but let's watch it anyway.
Hell yeah. Why not?
Hopefully they'll have enough like human stuff in the Knuckles show that they can focus only on the CGI hedgehogs and echidna folk in the movie.
I'm so excited for that movie.
Speaking of Knuckles, the Shadow grabbing Knuckles' fist and like twisting it.
Yes.
That was sick.
Yes.
I feel like such a fanboy.
It's like Sonic's like, we don't want to fight you. And Knuckles he's always like, actually, Sonic, I kind of want to fight him. It's like, I hope you're strong because the last hedgehog I fought was weak. It's like, Knuckles, I'm right here. God. It's so good.
Yeah, I guess on the note of fanboyism, we've talked about exclusively Sega games so far.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to talk about another Sega game.
All right, let's go.
I beat Yakuza Like a Dragon this week.
Nice.
And it was amazing. I cried a lot. It was a phenomenal experience. There is, it's like 3/4 of the way through the game, there is a massive difficulty spike. And it's pretty notorious for it. Like, whenever you look up people talking about the game online and stuff, that is bound to come up somewhere in discussion, because basically what happened on my end is I'm just playing through the story at my normal pace. And this game is like, unlike the previous games, this is a turn-based RPG with very heavy, like, traditional RPG mechanics, where the previous games were action games with light RPG mechanics. Like, your character would gain levels, not like level 1, level 2, level 3, but he would reach a maximum experience threshold and then gain points that you can invest in a skill tree. And this is more of a actual traditional RPG. You level up. You have jobs like Final Fantasy style that also level up. And it's a turn-based battle system. So I'm going through this. I'm doing some of the side quests and stuff, because another nice thing about this is all of the side quests, they're not completely fully voiced, but they are the intro, the middle, and the end portions of every cutscene or every side quest is voiced in this, where previous entries, Yakuza 6 have fully voiced cutscenes, but there was no dub in Yakuza 6. Fully voiced cutscenes. I mean, fully voiced side quests. So I'm doing a lot of the side content in this because it's really kind of interesting me and stuff, and I'm getting a lot of bonuses and stuff for doing so. That's worth investing time into. And then, so I'm about, at this point in the game, level 35. And then I'm going through this sequence that ends in a boss fight against two characters, and they are both level 50. And they are capable of one-shotting you. And this is a 3-stage fight. You start off the first phase, you're fighting just one of them. And then there's a middle phase, and then the third phase is when the other character comes in. And then you're fighting two guys, both of them capable of just one-shotting you at level 35. So I was like, what the hell, man? Because that's also, for longtime fans of the series, that particular scene is a huge payoff. And I was hyped when that scene came on, right up until the boss fight just completely demolished me. And I was like, oh man, well, this sucks, because I'm supposed to be like really excited about this, and now I have to grind for a few hours to get up to speed for this. So the thing is, right before this sequence that eventually dumps you out at this boss fight, you unlock the battle arena, which is basically this big warehouse that you walk into, and then there's elevators at the front and the back of it, and then the center platform is just like a big arena. And basically you just battle waves of enemies with like different themes and stuff. Like some guys is like the theme is like they're all ugly misfits, and some guys is like they're all like pretending to be cops and stuff like that. Just random goofy Yakuza stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they give you this battle arena as a means of leveling up and stuff, and they give it to you right then they present it as just more side content, but they fully intend for you to actually make use of it and go through all 30 of its floors, which is, it's just one battle per floor. So it expects you to do at least once all 30 of the battles to level up, to prepare yourself for this next sequence with these level 50 boss fights.
Yeah.
But they present it as just side content that you could do if you want to. So, it's like, moral of the story, when you get to the battle arena, do it. And then you probably won't have as big an issue as I had. The fights are fun anyway. Like, they're all like really goofy and they have some fun themes. You get a lot of good items as rewards for winning the fights too, in addition to the experience. So it's worth doing. But it's just the way they presented it was like, man, this could have saved me a lot of trouble if you could have just said, man, you got to do this right now.
Yeah.
But man, that was such a phenomenal game. I think it was like right around chapter 5 was when it kind of got its hook to me, and where I was kind of like bouncing back and forth between that and Final Fantasy 14. Once I hit like chapter 5 in that game, I was like, I can't put this game down. I need to finish this game. And I just freaking binged it the rest of the way last week. So I had the week off.
Yeah.
Like, well, there's that. So, God, Ichiban's an incredible character. Like, he's not as good as Kiryu, but he's still pretty damn good. And there are some moments in that game where he really, really shines, especially toward the end of the game. God, so good. And now I only have 2 more Yakuza games to play for the mainline series, and I beat them all. And that's my goal for this year. So I'm really excited. But yeah, after I beat that, I was like, well, what should I play now? So finally decided to play the game Stellar Blade, which is a new action game that released on Lucas's birthday this year.
Yeah.
And I bought it.
This isn't a Sega game.
What's really cool about this game in particular, though, I have been following this ever since it was first revealed in a PlayStation showcase, like way back at the start of the PlayStation 5 generation. I think it might have been in the PS5 reveal, like, lineup of games. And it was originally unveiled as Project Eve, and it's developed by a Korean studio called Shift Up, who, before this game, they were just making, like, mobile type games, kind of like Genshin, in a way. So this is their first attempt at a AAA console action game, and it is incredible. The story is a little bit weak. I played all the way through it. It took me about 15, 16 hours, I think. So it's not really a particularly long game. There's side content that you can do to increase the playtime, but I didn't feel any need to do any of it after a point. But it's pretty hard. But it does a lot of work to allow you to kind of, through the game's systems, customize your difficulty in a way. There are difficulty modes. There's a story-focused mode with lower enemy difficulty, and then there's just the normal mode difficulty. That's the base level difficulty. And then through your upgrade paths in your skill trees, and then the gear that you can pick up and equip, you can then further decrease the difficulty that way. Like, there are because there's a very heavy emphasis in this game on, like, parrying and doing perfect parries and perfect dodges and stuff. You know, like, in an action game, that's basically you are pressing the parry or the dodge button at the literal last possible second before the incoming attack connects to get that perfect parry or dodge. I'm not good at those at all. But this game, on its skill tree, has an option for both perfect parry and dodge that slightly increases the window with which you can perform those actions. And then later on, there's a piece of gear that you can equip and upgrade, which then also further increases the window with which you can do that. So I was able to kind of tailor that, even though I'm traditionally kind of put off by games that put such a heavy emphasis, especially on parrying. Because parrying for me is very difficult. I will dodge 90% of the time if there's an option between parry and dodge, just because it's a lot easier for me to like roll out of the way than try and like block precisely at the perfect moment. But I was actually, with this game, the only time I pressed the dodge button was when there was a move that could not be blocked coming my way and I had to roll. Otherwise, it's like I was actually like getting pretty decent with the parrying with those assists I was able to equip. That it was actually feeling really, really good in a way that I'm not really used to feeling in an action game. So, like, even though the game is hard and even normal enemies out on the world map as you're exploring will feed you your lunch if you're not careful. Like, I was able to get it to a point where I was able to like play it comfortably and confidently and have a lot of fun in doing so. And there's so many fun like combos and skills that you can use in addition to like just your regular attacks and stuff. God, it's so fun. And then there is the music. And the music in this game is so like so unique in the action game space. Like it takes a lot of like atmospheric electronica and kind of like K-pop influences in the music, and it creates this really, really cool soundscape that is so unique among action games. Like I am actually going to link you guys in chat now to a little room, and I am going to demonstrate for our listeners what I am talking about here, and you as well. Okay, so this first song I want to share today is from a section very early on in the game. It's one of the environment themes early in the game, and it's just absolutely phenomenal and really kind of sets the tone for what you can expect from like some of the environment themes in this game. It's just you do not expect from an action game. You just don't expect this style of music. It's just got this really cool, unique atmosphere to it. And a lot of the tracks in the game also have a vocal track in some way, which is also really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may say it gets repetitive, but I think it's like really, really well done that I never really felt like it was repetitive because I was so into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like this kind of stuff. I could just listen to this all day. This just like the environment themes are just like really, really relaxing. Like you could just kind of like put this on and just work to it kind of music.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Lo-fi chill music.
Yeah. In a world where the simplest enemy can completely destroy you. Okay. And then, but the next song comes a little bit pretty late in the game, but it kind of, it just hits you with this amazing chorus. And I love it so much. Like the vibes in this track are just spectacular. I love the way the song builds up too. Like they cooked with this soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes feel harder, but things will be right without a doubt. Yeah. And they just me
And I don't want to talk about where specifically in the game this song plays because it's a really cool sequence. But both of these songs are available on a mini EP that the devs released on streaming platforms. But I love this lead into the chorus here. And then the chorus is just huge synths. But yeah, just like, so you can imagine just based on those two songs there, like the entire soundtrack for this game is just vibe city. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like every single time you get to a new area, you just kind of sit there and you take in the music and you don't want to move because it's like, oh, I want to hear where the song is going. And then like a lot of the environment themes also have like a battle version that it like seamlessly transitions in and out of when you go into combat. I mean, a lot of games do that nowadays, but just the battle versions of these songs are really, really cool also. And yeah, if you are into action games and you own a PS5, I highly recommend Stellar Blade. The story is a little bit predictable, leaves a little bit to be desired. They definitely spared some of the budget when it came to the voice cast because some of the voice acting is a little questionable. But for this studio's first outing with a game of this scale, I think they did a phenomenal job, and I can't wait to see what Shift Up does next. But that's not all I've been playing. I decided I wanted to play a Tales of game. Decided I've been kind of in the mood for one for a while now, and it's just like I couldn't kind of decide if I wanted to like replay Vesperia or play one I hadn't played before or what, something like that. I've kind of been wanting to play Tales of Arise again recently, but I settled on finally picking one that I haven't played yet. And I dusted off my PS3 and started Tales of Xillia, which is one of the sadly still trapped on PlayStation 3 Tales games.
Yeah.
This game is phenomenal so far. So it's a dual protagonist type setup, and when you start the game, you pick between either Jude, who is a medical student in this this city called Fenmont, or Mila, who is basically like a god in human form, essentially. So there's basically in this world there are humans and there are spirits, and essentially Mila is known as Maxwell, which is like the god spirit, the one that's supposed to watch over the world and protect humans and spirits alike and make sure that they're able to live in harmony and basically they don't destroy themselves. So basically the plot starts out is, depending on who you pick, you have certain parts of the game that play out a little bit differently because you're following that particular character. So like whenever like the characters decide to separate for a few moments, depending on which character you picked from the start, you see what they're doing while the other person's off doing stuff off screen. So it's really cool. It adds a little bit of replay value to the game because you have two distinct different routes that you can do. I picked Mila for this one just because the whole like god spirit thing seemed a little bit more interesting to me than a medical student. But they're both really great characters and they have a lot of good chemistry. The entire cast of this game has phenomenal chemistry, and I think it's one of my favorite Tales casts of the games that I've played. There's no like token annoying character in this one. I mean, there kind of is, like the little kid. She has a doll that talks and does a lot of the comic relief stuff. But aside from that, like the characters themselves, there's no like real there's no duds at all. Like there is such a good cast. And I really like where the story is going so far too. I'm about 20 hours in. I just passed the halfway mark of the game, and stuff's happening. Stuff is happening. The plot's really kind of kicking off now. And I'm really excited to see where this game goes. And my copy of Xillia 2, the sequel, just came in today. I don't know if I'm going to go directly into it after I finish this game. Depends on timing of how things work out. But I'm really excited to play the sequel as well, just because of how much I'm really enjoying this game. It might make top 3 Tales games for me by the time I'm done. It's very, very, very good if you're a fan of the Tales series. Unfortunately, it is trapped on the PlayStation 3 right now. That is its biggest sin. And I've noticed also that because it's on the PS3, it's running in 720p. So it's even, I don't have a 4K TV, I just have a 1080p TV, but even on that, it's just a little bit blurry. Which brings me to my next point, because Bandai Namco at the Nintendo Direct this week announced a remaster of one of the other PlayStation 3 Tales games, Tales of Grace's F. And that is actually kicking off a 30th anniversary celebration for the Tales of franchise, which does turn 30 in 2025, where they're making an effort to not just remaster this one game and bring it back, but remaster several Tales games and bring them to modern platforms over the next 2 years, which is awesome. And I'm really hoping that Xillia is one of them, and I would play it again in a heartbeat on like the PS5. I love this game. The combat's really, really fun. It still has the 4-player co-op that, like Tales of Symphonia had and stuff.
Nice.
So that's really cool. Obviously, I just playing it by myself. Can't really take advantage of that 4-player co-op, but the option is there. If we are ever in the same room playing Tales of Xillia, we could play it together. And the battle system uses this really cool, it's called the link system, where you can, of the 4 characters in your party, you can like link your controlled character with another character in battle. And that unlocks, like, each character has a different specific action that they will perform when they are linked with you. Like, for instance, I always have, because I'm playing as Mila, and I always have her linked with Jude, because Jude's link skill is if I get knocked down ever, he'll rush to my side, help me up, and heal me a little bit. So it's like really nice. And then like other characters, like there's one character, like if you're fighting a bunch of enemies that they're always blocking, then you can link with this character, and his link skill is actually to go around to all these enemies you're attacking that keep blocking and say, hey, I'm going to guard break you. And he basically disables their ability to block. So there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do playing around with that. And then in addition to that, you can also link arts together, which arts are your skills and stuff in the game. So as you are attacking and performing actions, you are filling a gauge on the left side of the screen, and that gauge has several like ticks in it. And each time you get up to one of those ticks, an icon starts glowing at the top of the gauge. And then if you use an art that is able to link with your partner, one of your partner's arts, then an icon glows over top of your character. You can press the R2 button, and then you do a linked art that does a whole crap ton of damage. And then when that gauge gets to the top, you unlock overdrive mode, which basically allows you to just cast unlimited arts. And while you're doing that, also you can chain linked arts together and just create these massive combos. And it's really cool and really fun. So I highly also recommend Tales of Xillia. I would have to assume this is one of the ones that's going to get a remaster probably next year. there was a rumor of it like showing up at like some foreign like ratings board and stuff. So I think it is out there. I'm actually surprised it was Grace's and not this that was revealed at the Nintendo Direct. But I'm not complaining. I will take all of the remastered Tales games. I love this series, and I have not played nearly enough of them to justify that love. I've played Symphonia, played Vesperia, I've played Berseria, I've played a little bit of Abyss, and played Zestiria, and I've played now Xillia. Of those, I think I've only beaten Vesperia and Arise. I think I've gotten close in Symphonia once. But these are phenomenal RPGs.
Mhm.
So good. And this series has been around for 30 years already. It's
Yeah.
nuts. And there's so many games that just never got ported to the West. So I'm hoping that this remastering initiative also kind of takes that into account and we get some games that we've never even seen on the West before.
Mhm.
Because there's probably a good third of the franchise is Japan exclusive.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, jeez. How long have we been going already? Oh boy. Let's get into our main topic discussion. But first, it's time for our Hey Listeners segment.
Hey, listen!
Each episode, we ask our Discord members a prompt based on the topic of the episode for them to respond to. And if you, the listener, would like to join the fun, there is a link to our Discord down below, and we hope to see you there. This week, our Discord members about their favorite edutainment games and if they just had any general thoughts on the genre. And we got 2 write-ins this week. Our first write-in comes from Jazzy, who writes, "Do I have a favorite edutainment game? Hell yeah, I do. Jumpstart 3rd grade. I had Jumpstart 2nd through 5th grade growing up, but 3 is the one that stuck out to me and the one I played several times, even up through 4th and 5th grade, probably." The premise is you're a robot tasked with bringing back various bots that have been sent back in time by the antagonist, a young girl who wants to alter history because she failed a history test or something. Huh. It's pretty wild for a Jumpstart game. It has some really fun mini games, like where you help a robot chef measure ingredients using fractions, and it had a really fun music mini game where you match instrument sounds with simplified sheet music to what you hear. Honorable mentions go to my 2 favorite games on school computers in the 90s. Gizmos and Gadgets, a platformer where you explore and solve science puzzles to find parts to make different vehicles to race, and Midnight Rescue, a reading comprehension and critical thinking game where you explore a school after hours to find out which of a series of robots like vandalized the school or something. Sounds spooky. Exploring a school after hours. Ooh. Our next writing comes from Crystal Lily, who writes the Magic School Bus games for computers. They were a lot of fun and I had many fond memories of playing them. Plus, you would learn a lot on the different subjects they were around, like the rainforest, dinosaurs, bugs, and the ocean. They were a favorite of mine back then, and even though some facts may have changed by now, like Pluto not being a planet anymore, I don't know what you're talking about. Pluto's always been a planet. Dinosaurs having feathers, they're not birds, etc. They were still a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone, for your write-ins. And now, let's talk about edutainment games.
I love edutainment games.
Let's get educated. So, I should preface this by saying I actually don't have many memories of edutainment games growing up. A lot of them were primarily computer games, and while we did have a computer in the house growing up, I didn't always have access to it, and we didn't have a lot of games for it. The only one I actually remember having was like the Island of Dr. Ned or something like that. It was some kind of math game.
Mm.
Like a point and click type game. But that's really the only like educational game I remember having for my computer. I mean, obviously, I played Gizmos and Gadgets in school on the school computers. Loved that game. It was so fun. But other than that, I had like 2 edutainment games for my Super Nintendo growing up. One of them was a Thomas the Tank Engine game that I absolutely adored. You got to like build like tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was really, really fun. And then I had Mario's Early Years Fun with Letters, which obviously it was a spelling teaching game and teaching you all about letters. And it is where I learned the phrase icky iggy that has stayed with me throughout my entire life. I can still hear the way they say it in the game in my head right now as I tell you about it. Icky iggy. But yeah, I know this is something that you two are really, really excited to talk about. So
Yeah,
let's
I
hear it.
love edutainment games. Yeah. So Neal and I both went to the same school district back when we were in school. So like a lot of like common sort of shared experiences with our school's edutainment games. You know, remember spending a lot of time playing, like, I think they had Jumpstart Kindergarten, and then I might be thinking that for home, but I feel like they had Jumpstart Kindergarten.
I don't remember them having that on computers.
Yeah.
That early, I don't remember many of the games. I remember
we had one of the Reader Rabbit games.
That's right, yeah.
We also had Math Blasters.
Yes.
And I personally don't remember playing Gizmos and Gadgets ever, but
What?
Not
you
here
guys
either.
didn't. You guys didn't have Gizmos and Gadgets?
we didn't at our school.
Oh,
We did have another game in the Super Solvers series though, with Treasure Math Storm, which like right after I got my laptop after graduating high school, it's like going on a trip down to or with Becca and her family to her aunt's cottage, and like one of the first things I did when we got there was I actually downloaded the MS DOS version of Treasure Math Storm and set up a MS DOS
nice
virtual machine in VirtualBox and played that.
How very you.
Yeah, it's just how I am and always have been. Yeah, I spent a lot of time playing Treasure Math Storm. It's a really fun game.
I know Bugdom came up at a Magic Night recently, but I don't think that was necessarily an edutainment game.
Yeah, I think that was more of just game that was on school computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny how that came about. It's like we all had like this weird shared memory revelation all at the same time of what is this bug game that was on the school computers?
Yes. Yeah, I brought it up and you didn't quite remember it, and our mutual friend Ari was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and then like lights came on. Oh my god, I remember now.
Yeah. Like I had seen someone in the media center at my elementary school, and so like I saw someone across the library playing it. I've never actually played it myself, but you know what? I have one of the old iMacs from our school district, so like I need to get on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, wait, is the one you have like the classic Mac OS? I believe Bugdom was on that. Not
it's. I think I have Mac OS 10.5.8. It's like the final release of Leopard before Snow Leopard. And like,
because our school switched from like the neon classic Macs that were around for a while to Emacs, and that was like very early OS X.
Yeah. The Emacs were basically like CRT versions of the iMac G4 line.
Yeah. I remember on those because they switched. Would have been like 2005 or 2006. Like they slowly transitioned all the labs So I was in like 5th or 6th grade when that happened.
Yeah.
Kid Pix was one that
Yes.
came to my mind.
Good old kid pics.
That sort of edutainment. It's like
Yeah.
early Photoshop.
Yeah. It was a really fun game. I actually stumbled across a page on Facebook that is it's more or less like rock and metal albums redrawn in kid pics.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Do you remember what the name of the typing program was?
Type to learn.
Type to Learn. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have memories of that. Mainly that like I missed a bunch of recess in 3rd grade because I was
Mhm.
really behind on typing.
Same here.
Yeah, did you guys have like for learning typing, like the big like thing that they put over your hands and the keyboard?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we had like, or at least when we were learning typing in my grade, because I'm 2 grades ahead of you.
what year did you
You're in my
graduate?
2011.
Yeah, you're 2 grades. I was 2013.
Yeah,
2 grades.
you're in my sister's class.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had like these big cardboard cover
Yeah,
things to
yeah.
hide our hands from our line of
Uh-oh.
sight. And then
No
eventually
peeking.
yep. And then they switched
Yes.
over to the speed skins, which were
Yes, that is what they had
like
when I was doing it.
orange rubber skins
Oh,
that
yep.
sat over top of the
The
letter
keys,
rows
so-
on your
Yep,
keyboard.
so you just couldn't see it.
Mhm.
The
Yep.
letters.
Yep.
Yeah, and they
Yep.
had like tactile dots on the F and J keys because the rubber kind of prevented you from feeling the bumps on those keys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What typing program did you use, Colin?
I feel like Mavis Beacon teaches typing. Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I played that at home because, for one thing, I never really learned how to type with Type to Learn. I got out
Yeah.
of like 7th grade, and I still hadn't learned using that
Yeah.
Type to Learn. And so my mom had Mavis Beacon. Not sure if it was for me necessarily. I know she was trying to improve her typing speed to get a different job. So
Mhm.
she might have just had that for her, and I used it because I was struggling with typing too.
Yeah. I
But
don't think.
that didn't really teach me either. I ended up just typing for fun and learning to type that way because I wanted to type faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I was a nerd and did
yeah.
Microsoft Word projects for fun.
Yeah. I don't think my typing proficiency really started to skyrocket until like I started taking Java programming.
Oh dang! Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you get the basics from those types of things,
Mhm.
but like it never really helped. It never really helped me get like proficient at it either. It wasn't until I was actually like typing school papers and stuff where
Yeah.
my typing
Like-
speed really began to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they were really pushing like not looking at your hands while typing, but
Mm-hmm.
it kind of goes both ways because like I glance down at my keyboard quite a bit when I'm typing, but also like then I can see all of the letters and I'm a bit more precise about my finger movements when typing.
Right.
So like then I don't have to look at the screen to see all the typos I'm making otherwise.
Yeah. Probably at my most efficient at the end of high school and beginning of college.
Yeah.
With the most writing for school, along with Sonic fanfiction.
Yeah. Another thing that's really boosted my typing speed probably is nice mechanical keyboards that I feel very comfortable with, like the switch setups on. But
Yeah.
that's a different sort of hell.
Yeah. Moving on from typing, because I was searching around, I didn't quite think that Jumpstart was what I played, but bouncing from Wikipedia articles, I found, what is it, Clue Finders? Do you remember Clue
Yeah.
Finders, Lucas?
I do.
They sent these home with us over the summer, I want to say.
I don't know if I was sent home with them from like the school or not, but I know that like we checked out Clue Finders, third grade adventures and fourth grade adventures from the local library. I think I might have a burned disc of Clue Finders fourth grade Puzzle of the Pyramid somewhere. Yeah.
My mom was always super paranoid about, like, very literalistic about copyright protection on CD-ROMs early on.
Yeah.
So I just have the games that, like, legit had.
Yeah. I definitely remember the at least those two Clue Finders games. I don't think I played any of them beyond that. Yeah, those were fun, like point and click adventure sort of games. Yeah, I remember it's specifically one of the songs in or Clue Finders third grade adventure, The Mystery of Mathra.
Yeah. They're all just like unlocking memories for me, all these images I'm finding on Google.
Yeah.
I remember specifically this Ring of Fire thing.
I remember the hippie flowers that kind of reminded me of the Beatles. And they sang that song that they're like lamenting how the goo in the Goo Lagoon has like turned terrible. Or specifically, they say, or something along the lines of like, goo, what happened to you? You smell like old socks from Mathridge.
Huh.
Yeah, turns out Mathra's a fake Mathra this whole time, and like a robotic dragon thing. And the reason why the Goo Lagoon was being tainted is because it was actually like leaking motor oil. Hooray, environmental hazards. Yeah, it's fun that you brought up the Clue Finders, because like that was a game series that I had a tab open for so that I could talk about it.
Yeah.
It's, sort of like the or at least from Wikipedia, the Learning Company's like older elementary audience series to kind of correspond to the Reader Rabbit games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember the Reader Rabbit game.
I don't remember specifically which one because there is a ton of them, but it might have been Reader Rabbit. No, I don't. That doesn't look familiar. I know it was older Mac OS software. I know that much.
Right.
It was so long ago. I don't really remember. I remember the old Power Macs that we used to have before the first gen iMacs, before the eMacs. They're like nicknamed the Molar Mac because they were like big, chunky, all-in-one Macintoshes that had a case that kind of shaped like a tooth.
That is a goofy looking PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think these were around when I.
Yeah.
If they were not in the labs we used in kindergarten.
Yeah. Yeah, those things are pretty old. Unsurprisingly, I kind of want to get one. Just I think our old school's probably like completely done away with them by now. But
By now, definitely.
yeah. Yeah. Might be something to look into on eBay. Or not, because they're CRT based all-in-ones, and that's going to be awful to get shipped to you.
Ooh, good point.
Yeah, the iMac G4 is a bit different because it's got a LCD flat panel on it. Oh yeah, that particular generation of Apple computers is actually like compatible with macOS Classic. So dual boot, maybe? Can old macOS dual boot? I don't know. We should find out.
Sounds like you're gonna find out.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to find out, it's probably me. Because it would be cool to play all of the old edutainment games that I used to play in school on one of the school's old computers. Then Mavis can play them too. On top of like, I think somewhere we've got our like Jumpstart Kindergarten Home Edition, and got a couple of Schoolhouse Rock games.
Yes. Yeah, I actually have a tab up right now.
All right.
I had specifically the thinking games one.
I had Schoolhouse Rock Math, and then it was a couple summers ago at one of the schools I used to work in. They had a different Schoolhouse Rock edutainment game.
Gotta say, this Creative Wonders splash screen at the beginning of this is super nostalgic.
Yeah, I had Schoolhouse Rock, Math Rock, and then the one that I found at one of the schools I was working in was Schoolhouse Rock, Grammar Rock. Yeah, they're fun games, and like in typical Schoolhouse Rock fashion, they all include like all the classic Schoolhouse Rock music videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, played Schoolhouse Rock Math a lot. It was one of our first PC games, I think. Right up there with the Microsoft Encarta that I think came packed with our Presario. I should install that on my Presario for old time's sake. It's only sitting right next to me right now. Yeah. Get that set up with the Schoolhouse Rock games, and I think we've got one of the Humongous Entertainment putt-putt games.
Oh yeah. Are we gonna get into Humongous Entertainment now?
Humongous.
Probably. I know Becca is a huge fan of the Pajama Sam games.
Yes, I had 2 and 3.
Osama Jam.
Yeah, I think she had 1 and 2, and then she had I think Putt Putt Saves the Zoo.
Yeah.
The one that at least I have a copy of. That was hers.
I had Ghost the Moon.
Yeah.
I have a specific memory with Putt Ghost the Moon where there was a section that was like a maze you had to do in the dark. It like lit up right around you, but it not very bright. So it was challenging because you couldn't see the maze. But I figured out as a kid that if I switched it into Windows mode or windowed mode, it would do a glitch and like the entire maze would appear.
Nice.
I don't think there's people speedrunning those games, but
Back
tip.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Becca had at one point had the first Pajama Sam game like down good enough that she could basically speedrun it.
That's awesome.
I think down to even like collecting all the socks too.
Yeah, those were good games.
Yeah, you can get the entire Humongous Entertainment bundle on Steam sales for like $75.
You can get it physically on Switch.
That's right. Yeah, it's like almost 80 some games.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
I should probably actually think about looking to pick that up for my niece.
Yeah, it's like
just for them to have for when she's old enough to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Freddy Fish was pretty good too. I remember that one. I had all the games would come
played that
with
at Brian's house a few times.
All the games would like come with demos of the other various IPs.
Yeah.
And like it would take you up to a certain point, and then like it'd be like, well, I can't go this way.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to keep going, buy the next game.
Wouldn't it be funny if those demos were still in the Humongous Collection versions?
Yeah.
That'd be really funny, actually.
Possible.
So Putt Putt had a little dog, this little brown dog he'd drive around, and I had a little stuffed animal that looked just like him. Putt Putt's dog was called Pep. My little stuffed animal is Pep. I said that backwards. His is Pep with a P. Mine was Pet with a T.
Mm.
I have no idea if that originated from this game or if it just was a coincidence.
Yeah, that's fun. It's like 7 Freddy Fish games plus 5 Spy Fox games plus a bunch of Putt Putt games. More than I'm willing to count right.
Also, I just realized that partner fish in Freddy Fish is made to look just like Putt Putt.
Huh. Yeah, he is a very Putt Putt shaped fish.
So a decade ago at this point, Proton John put out a live stream highlight of him playing all of Freddy Fish. The video is called Freddy Fish and the Slow Descent into Madness. Highly recommend watching that.
I love Proton John. I still quote his Smash Bros. Brawls videos to this day. 20 years later, I still quote them. Oh god, those videos are almost 20 years old now. I was like, Brawl is 2007, right?
2006.
Yeah.
2006, 2007. Those videos would have been 2008.
Uh-huh.
I hate this.
I feel old.
And we're talking about games that we played in the 90s and the
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah.
I feel older.
Yeah, do they really do many edutainment games anymore? You know, sure, like the long-standing franchises might every now and then have a new entry come out, I would imagine, but I don't really feel like you hear about them too much anymore.
Yeah, you don't really.
The thing now, kids don't go to their parents' computers; they just use the iPad.
That's
There's just
true.
various
It's just stuff on.
mobile
It's just like
apps.
App Store fodder, stuff like that. Now it's probably taking the place of like the more dedicated stuff that we had.
Yeah. When I first started as a janitor, 3 years ago, so like March of 2021, so it was like still during COVID times. So there was a lot of like remote and like classroom computer learning for obvious reasons. I think it was in like it was either the third or fourth grade classes. They were doing some stuff with like Minecraft Educational Edition.
Yep, I was about to bring that up.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that exists.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like based off of Bedrock, but also like, or is it? Wait, I don't know if it's based off of Bedrock or not, because like they were the students were running it off of like Chromebooks. So, well,
No, it would be well, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. It's based off Bedrock.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I could actually just look at that. I've got an entire computer right in front of me. Why don't I use it?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different extra things in it. Sometimes you'll be browsing the Minecraft wiki looking for something, and it'll be like, hey, this thing is something in Minecraft Education. You're like, that is not what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Bleach potions.
Yeah, there's all sorts of weird potions, and I know there's like elements too.
Yeah.
Which was really confusing when they added copper to the game, the main game.
Yeah, that sure makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like having seen a couple of the like Minecraft Educational Edition lesson plans firsthand, it seems interesting at least.
Yeah, Windows 10, macOS Big Sur, Chrome OS 83, Android 8.0, or iOS 11. Right, if it's based on Bedrock, they can do it on iOS as well.
No Linux version. Shame on you.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, Bedrock isn't for Linux. It's interesting that Education is available for Mac, because Bedrock is not available for Mac.
Yeah.
That's probably just the necessity of Macs are so prolifically used in schools.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting that like almost all of the edutainment games that we played in school were Mac games.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. We didn't have Macs in our school in any of them.
Yeah,
I didn't have them in elementary, middle, or high school.
Yeah,
we always had Windows PCs.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't necessarily have like the most up-to-date Macs.
We sure didn't.
Yeah,
those Macs that we were talking about that we got in like 2005 or 2006.
Yeah,
all the way through my senior year.
Which is weird because you guys went to like a more.
They weren't even Intel Macs; they were PowerPC.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys went to a more metro school than I did.
Our school was super poor when it came to funding.
That sucks.
They do, like, when they actually got money, they do, like, the football field.
Of course.
I believe you mean the marching band stadium.
Get it
Our
right.
football team was a hot garbage.
Yeah.
But our marching band would regularly, like, make nationals, so...
Yes. Yeah, at least the marching band got a good feel.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with my school, it was the wrestling team that was the only thing worthwhile in that entire school.
Hulkamania ran wild.
Hell yeah,
we had Marching band did really well, and Science Olympiad did really well as well.
Yeah.
We had a pretty decent band as well. I remember, but
Yeah.
the football team was it wasn't the worst, but they were never really overly spectacular. And then basketball teams, you just never heard about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The wrestling team did good a couple of years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of our sports teams were garbage.
Yeah.
We didn't have a hockey team, so I didn't care about sports.
We had one kind of. We had to share with a neighboring school district because neither of us had quite enough players for a dedicated hockey team.
Nice. Well, that's better than not having one at all.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, even going back further than that, like when we were talking type to learn, like the the computers that or like sometimes we would like get the fancier computer lab with the iMacs in it. About half the time we'd be on the old Power Macs. And then on the occasions that I had to stay in for recess to catch up on type to learn because I was many lessons behind. That was done on like a Macintosh SE.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
Or maybe it was a Macintosh Plus. It was like an original style Macintosh computer. Yeah, I think SEs had hard drives in them because like didn't have to use any sort of boot disk to start it up. So, but yeah, also just really cool seeing how backward and forward compatible like classic Mac OS was because I think Macintosh SEs were only like System 7.
Huh.
And I think the Power Macs were running Mac OS 9 of some sort. But like, just going all the way back on those, like you could the same version of Type to Learn would just run.
Yeah, those type to learn games actually transitioned up to the Emacs as well. Around, I'm not sure how much where you were when this happened at the end of our schooling. The county or the district voters approved a extra budget thing for our school to work on arts and like computer stuff.
Yeah.
And so the last 2 years I was there, they're like, where do we want to put new computers? What do we get rid of? Do we get Macs for the old Windows labs? And it didn't come through until the year after I graduated.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yep. That was I think that was the summer that I bought my iMac used from the junior high computer lab.
That sounds right. Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, apparently they had sped up purchases for the special ed kids.
Huh.
Because one time, senior year poetry class, they couldn't get a lab, so they took us to the secret lab.
Oh yeah.
They had brand new iMacs.
Oh.
Nice.
And man, was that awesome.
Yeah.
Especially since our teacher didn't really preface it with anything other than we're going to the secret lab. But yeah, it was specifically for special ed kids.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah. I think for one of my writing classes, we went to the room that lab was in, but it was prior to the iMac purchase. So like there was a bunch of old like IBM Think Centers.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, with really junky keyboards, and like some of the computers had 3-button mice, no scroll wheel.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. So like it was like an actual like Microsoft branded Microsoft mouse.
Right, yeah.
With left, right, and center click buttons. No scroll wheel.
I think we had Think Centers in the Java lab too. I want to say.
I think those were HP Compacts.
Nope. You're right. It was HP Compacts.
Yeah, those were like hand-me-downs from the business classes. I think.
Yeah, yeah. That was the lab that they were saying like, should we stick with Windows?
Yeah.
Yeah, Windows at that time the newest Windows was Windows 8, so
Oh yeah, that's right.
that's why they had to think about it for a while, and I'm not actually sure what they decided.
I would not blame them if they wanted to sidestep Windows 8.
Yeah, it was very new at the time, and
Yeah.
people were not. Yeah,
Yep. So this is going to sound like a very egregious sin against edutainment software, but I personally have never played the Oregon Trail.
Oh, really?
What?
See,
Yeah.
it was on our computers that I did play at school. I had just completely forgotten about it somehow.
That game was brutal.
Yeah, it was hard. Don't
You could let all your friends die.
Yep, we all died from dysentery. It was great.
So, did you guys like name the names like something stupid or like?
Oh, I almost certainly would.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, if I have ever played it. I don't know if I've ever played it. I don't think I have. I know, like, my first year at GVSC was, like, right when archive.org was, like, made public a bunch of, like, Apple II games, playable through a browser emulator. And, like, a couple of the people I was friends or hanging out with there, were, like, excited about playing the Oregon Trail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have specific memories of a bunch of our mutual friends like going through and naming your characters I, you, they, stuff like that. So it's
You died. They died.
or who died of typhoid. That's not a question. There's no question mark at the end. It's just who died of typhoid.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone-
I ever told you guys about like the sort of zombie apocalypse parody of the Oregon Trail called the Oregon Trail?
No.
Yeah, it's like a yeah, the premise is basically the Oregon Trail but with a zombie invasion, and like you're traveling from the Washington D.C. area all the way to a safe haven in Oregon, and
game that is very hard to search.
yeah, LGR and Pushing Up Roses did a let's play of it like a decade ago, and it's hilarious. They had and yeah, their wagon, which was a like wood panel station wagon, like a Buick Roadmaster.
Of course.
Yeah, they had LGR, Pushing Up Roses, Duke Nukem, which Clint was voicing in his like fantastic Duke Nukem voice.
Nice.
Laser Frog and Anyone, which at one point Clint just like mercy kills them for the hell of it.
Thing on Steam has a live action trailer. It's wild. I will say though, very hard to search. I had to put the keyword zombie or it would not come up. It just brought up Oregon Trail.
Huh. Yeah, it's a very amusing like zombie apocalypse parody of the Oregon Trail.
That's pretty good. I was listening to the director's commentary on Gravity Falls, and there's a bit where they time travel back in time to Oregon Trail days. And one of the people that was on the commentary said, "Oh, I actually named all the people after my friends and family." So it was always awful.
Yep.
Which I've never done, but yeah, that's sounds like the equivalent of naming your friends and family in Mother 3.
Yeah.
Don't do that either. I don't recommend it.
Yep. You guys want to know something wild? Edutainment games have basically existed as long as video games have existed. When Colin mentioned, like before we started recording, that he was looking at his SNES games to find his edutainment games, I looked up at my game shelf, and probably the biggest box of my RCA Studio 2 games is TV Schoolhouse 1. And then the game that I have next to it is Math Fun. And this is a console that came out in, I think, 1979? 77. January. 10
7.
months before the Atari 2600 would release.
Wow.
Second ever game console to use game cartridges, and they have edutainment games on it.
Dang.
They've been around forever.
Yep.
I would.
So what about Mario and Sonic and other like?
Mario's a fun one.
Yeah.
They got
Or is it?
they got really mean with the Mario games.
Yeah.
In that they really dressed them up to try to sell them to kids as
Yeah.
a new Mario game. And then you get it, you get home, you slap it in your Super Nintendo, and you're like, all right, Mario is missing. I gotta find him. And then you and then you have to play Mario is missing.
Yeah, and like Mario's Time Machine sounds so cool
It
until you
does.
put it in your SNES, and it's like a history worksheets.
Did that one have Super Mario World sprites too? Like Mario is
did, it
missing?
did.
Oh my
It
god.
did. Yeah.
Those evil people. Why would they do that to us? Kids these days will never have to go through that.
Yeah.
Well, our kids will.
Yeah. Yeah, back when I was still uploading stuff to my old Held Together with Tape YouTube channel, I actually did a tool-assisted playthrough of Mario's Time Machine.
Nice.
It was one of the most boring things I ever tasked. Yeah, it's not a good game. Oh, and the weird thing too is that like Mario's Time Machine and Mario's Missing were both on the NES as well. And like,
Really?
yeah, that I know of, Mario's Missing is more or less the same game, but then like Mario's Time Machine is actually probably better on the NES than the Super Nintendo version.
Oh, this actually looks like a platformer.
Yeah,
This is wild that it's got Super Mario World graphics though.
yeah, and so does Mario is Missing.
Huh.
It's also like game was weird in that like anytime you got paid your reward money for finding your geographical clues in Mario is Missing, like the people at the counters would always tell you that here is your specifically tax-free reward. Like
Huh.
kids of that age playing that game are gonna know what taxes are yet.
Tax-free, yeah, right. So what's going on with Sonic Schoolhouse over here?
Sonic Schoolhouse is one of the games of all time.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Like Sonic doesn't look good generally. Like he's kind of comparable to some of his early 3D renders on like the Saturn and stuff, but like
Yeah.
eeh.
Oh,
Look
that
at
his voice is horrendous.
I've got it muted. I didn't read them. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
these other animals that are in the game. For one thing, they're not Sonic style, but like that's permittable. But they all look terrifying.
Yeah.
Soulless gazes.
Yeah.
Monkey is staring straight into the camera. I think that's a monkey. Maybe it's a duck. Brown duck. I don't know. And then the gameplay was like sort of like Doom style 3D gameplay.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And then you sit on a bus and watch a bunch of nature videos.
Yeah. LGR has a review of Sonic Schoolhouse in their edutainment games playlist. It's something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They also have a review of Mario Teaches Typing. Which, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back on typing tutors again.
Huzzah.
Yeah, there was a Mario typing tutor game. It was an earlier release that did not have any 3D animation, and then there is a newer release that actually features Charles Martinet voicing Mario actually this time, and it uses what could, at least in my opinion, be best described as like a dollar store version of the like Super Mario 64 Mario head.
Yeah, that was the first time they properly rendered Mario in 3D, and why they got Charles Martinet was to have the Mario I think it was like a Q&A with Mario. Mario was on a screen, and like Charles Martinet would answer questions from kids. I think I'm recalling this correctly. Don't quote me 100% on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then when Super Mario 64 came around, they cleaned it up a lot, and looks a lot better.
Oh, wild. Apparently, Charles Martinet also did like the motion capture for the expressions.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Also, wow, it's specifically the CD version. Remember that anomaly? I kind of miss that transition because like we went from a like IBM PC running private PC DOS, maybe MS DOS like 3.1, all the way to a Windows 98 PC. So like I kind of missed out on the like DOS 6.22 days and early Windows 95 stuff where you could still get the floppy disk version of a software or the CD-ROM version of the software.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
I am young. Slightly younger.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Localized versions of Mario Teaches Typing exist. Like it's a German version that supports their more native quartz keyboard layout with umlaut accent marks. That's cool. They're an Italian version. Yeah. Apparently there is a Mario Teaches Typing too, but that's not the one I've seen YouTube pooped to death. So
Huh.
I think that might be a fun typing tutor to pick up for Mavis.
Yeah. Type with Mario. It's great.
Yeah.
What
So
could
great
go wrong?
Yeah, so great that Mario Teaches Typing 2 is the last Mario-themed educational game released.
Oof.
Yeah, Miyamoto-san was not happy.
Really? That's where he drew the line.
Yeah. It was weird, too, because, like, the Mario Teaches Typing games were published by Interplay, who's, like, a very reputable PC game publisher at the time.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Huh.
Looking at my cartridge of Mario's Time Machine that was produced by the Software Toolworks, who I have never heard of before. Oh my god, there's the GameStop sticker on it still.
Huh.
We paid $13 for this junk.
What? You're kidding.
I wish I was.
Wow.
I wish I could go back and
Oh
get
my
that
God.
$13.
Oh my god. That's awful.
Yeah, we got that in the same haul that I got my copy of Link to the Past and F-Zero and Mega Man 7 and Biometal. Yeah. I wish I did not own that game. It's
Yeah, that's awful.
yeah. It's about as exciting as like filling out worksheets from a history textbook. Yeah. You know, but really like the Mario edutainment games and like Sonic Schoolhouse are kind of more of the exception than they are the rule for like good edutainment games. It's like all the stuff like the Super Solvers games and Clue Finders that was sure it was an educational game, but it didn't feel like it. It felt like you were playing a point and click adventure game first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like Math Blasters, like puzzle platformer game, or at least the iteration of Math Blasters that I played. Yeah, a lot of these are like kind of feels like we got to play sort of like the final wave of the really good quality ones. Yeah.
I gotta bring up Incredible Machine real quick.
Yeah. a physics
that
puzzle
game is awesome.
simulator. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I need to purchase it on GOG. I might stream it at some point when I finally get it. That game is crazy. There's
Yeah.
so many parts in that game, and there is a tutorial for pretty much everyone. Some parts are like combined into one tutorial, but there's like 100 tutorial levels, and then like either 300 or 400 more beyond that. It's crazy how much stuff is packed into that game. And the CD-ROM version I had, they were like, "Hey, we've got access to CD audio, so why the heck don't we just make like actual music with actual instruments?" Because it's a kids' edutainment loosely game.
Yeah.
It's great. I am, yeah. I will put it in stream time once I get it. I'll figure out a time to stream it because love that game. You can create your own puzzles. I still have my disc with all my old save files of all my old puzzles. I wonder if I can get it to work with the newer version. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Macintosh, MS-DOS, Windows. And I run sometimes all three of those at the same time. So
Yeah, I just
a version for the Panasonic 3DO.
Oh, wild.
Yeah. Yeah. Be fun to try and get running on old hardware too. Yeah. Like it's one of the reasons why I'm so glad that I still have like my 25-year-old Windows 98 desktop from when I was growing up and playing all of these games.
Yeah. I wish I could just give you my copy of Incredible Machine Contraption so that Mavis could play it, but unfortunately my disc got scratched at some point.
Bummer.
Yeah. Didn't stop me from trying to play it anyway.
Yeah.
Random crashes. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Literally my entire MacBook experience right now. Also.
Yeah.
That's a lot harder to deal with though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what the cause of that is.
Entirely sure. I took it in. It sucked because that MacBook went down in 2020.
Yeah.
In the summer. So it was like, well, we can't go to the Apple store.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
should we switch gears?
Yeah.
Move on.
I think
Okay.
so.
Okie dokie. Let's move on to our next.
Edutainment games.
I do too. They're great.
Yeah.
I wish I
So much nostalgia.
I wish I was exposed to more when I was young, but I was not. Alas.
Yeah. Go check out the
Onto a-
Super Solvers games. I think if you like Gizmos and Gadgets, you probably like some of the other ones in that series.
But alas, onto a game I was exposed to when I was younger. Our weekly Late to the Past. This week, on the date this episode goes live, which is September 3 of 2024, a little old game called Metal Gear Solid turns 26 in Japan, releasing on September 3rd of 1998.
It's one of those hidden gems. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. I think a couple people like played it once and were like, man, this might do something someday.
Yeah.
And then we never heard of it again.
Yeah. Should probably
Yeah.
pick more popular games for Link to the Past.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's making like cinematic story-based video games these days.
No, definitely not.
None of those things will ever be traced back to something like Metal Gear Solid. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where like it's one of those game series where like people fawn over it but tell you not to play like the first game or two in the series because they're bad or something. Metal Gear Solid's the third one.
oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I've never heard people say don't play Metal Gear Solid because it's old and crusty and bad, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody somewhere has said that. because Snake Eater exists, but like Metal Gear
Neither.
Solid 1 is an incredible game and still to
is.
this day holds up. It just looks a little crusty. That's all. It looks crusty. It does not play crusty.
Yeah, it plays great. It just looks bad because it's a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what's really funny about it too is like when the PC port came out, the studio that did the port actually did a lot of like up-resing of the textures and just retextured the entire game basically just because they had the extra horsepower available to them. And
Nice.
Kojima got wind of that and was like, "No, change it back. It has to look exactly like it looks on the PlayStation."
Huh. Wild.
It pissed Kojima off a lot, and it's just hilarious because that is exactly in character for Kojima.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
Weird.
don't mess with my vision. My vision is the way this game looked on the PlayStation, and it's gonna look like that on PC too. Because like on the PlayStation, like the characters don't really have faces. They're
yeah.
just kind of
Right.
like,
They have a
just-
polygon suggestion of.
yeah, where on the PC, at the time the PC port was being developed, they had the horsepower to give them like a pretty decent looking face texture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then Kojima was like, nope, that's not my vision for this game.
hmm
Change it back. Just think that's so funny.
Yeah.
God, Kojima's a cool guy. Such
he
a
is
weird
very
guy.
amazing. Yeah.
Such a weird guy.
Yeah.
But
I know a lot of
26 years.
people rag on Metal Gear on the NES as being a bad game, but that's also because it's a bad port. 'Cause it was originally released as an MSX game. But
Yeah, I actually both Metal Gear 1 and 2 are in the recent re-release collection of the games. So I'm gonna have to check those out when I get around to replaying those.
yeah,
I do.
I've been meaning to check out Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2.
Wishlist the Master Collection on Steam and pick it up when it goes on sale.
Not a bad idea.
Worth it. Like they didn't go too crazy hardcore with like remastering or touch-ups or anything. They basically just upscaled everything to HD, and
hmm
I think they might have put a rewind feature in there. I don't quote me on that, but I think it's a pretty basic port. But nowadays when we just want to play these old games on modern systems, it's like that's fine.
Yeah.
It's like I just want to play Metal Gear Solid on my PS5, so
Yeah.
this gives me the ability to. It's like the extra bells and whistles. I mean, they're nice, but they're not a make or break for me when it comes to something like that.
Yeah.
For me, it's just more important to have the game available. But yeah, 26 years ago, Hideo Kojima gave us a game that would transform the gaming landscape as we knew it at the
Yeah.
time. And this is one of those games like Final Fantasy VII that there is a clear before and after this
Yeah.
game when you look at the history of video games.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like, sure, there's 2 Metal Gear games before Solid, but like Metal Gear Solid kind of like, blew the whole thing wide open of like you can have an action game that is not like you being, kind of a more Rambo like action hero where you're just like going in guns a-blazing and stuff. Like it's an action game, but it's done through stealth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, like the previous the Metal Gear games, not Metal Gear
Mhm.
Solid, but the Metal Gear games, the first 2, those were more just like your typical like top-down action type shooty games, which I mean they had a stealth element to them. Like there were portions of the game where you had to avoid being detected by enemies and stuff, but it was very basic just due to limitations of the hardware at the time. But the PlayStation allowed them to do a lot more with that. But it wasn't just that, it was the cinematography of Metal Gear Solid that really set it apart. The game was staged like an action movie.
Yeah.
You boot up Metal Gear Solid and it's like you're booting up a freaking James Bond film. It's just, it was incredible for the time. And it was one of those games that showed that video games can be more than just a game.
Yeah.
It can be more than just beeps and boops and pushing buttons and shooting things and jumping and collecting mushrooms and coins and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it can tell a compelling story in a compelling way.
Yeah.
And that's why Metal Gear Solid is one of the 50 games that you should try before you die.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I
But
saw a thing on Facebook pop up yesterday, and I got to explain how Psycho Mantis worked to Becca.
awesome.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, and just like revolutionary gameplay mechanics like that, because Kojima is always looking for weird, crazy things that he could do in games that just no one else thinks of. Where like the Psycho Mantis thing is like literally it's able to read your memory card and he will talk about any Konami games that you have save data on your memory card for. And then there's the part where it forces you to switch, like literally walk up to your PlayStation, unplug your controller and plug it into the other controller port, or you cannot progress in that battle.
Yep.
It's crazy. No one but Kojima would think of something like that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, happy birthday, Metal Gear Solid. Thank you, Kojima, for being weird.
Yeah.
Gaming industry needs you. But let's move on and get out of here. That's the end of episode 58. Lucas, where can we find you outside the podcast?
Find me on Linktree at linktr.ee/Karn_evil_999. Got links to join the podcast Discord, listen to all the back catalog of the podcast. Add me on Steam if you so desire. It's got links to my YouTube channel that I run, where I post long plays of the games that we feature in our That One Game series of episodes. Phantasy Star Online coming soon.
Hooray!
Yeah. Speaking of Phantasy Star Online, I'm on Affinia. Come hang out with me. Usually on Deviloka ship. I haven't started a ship or a Fadra character yet. So
Can
that's more of
confirm.
the Deviloka is more of like the classic PSO server, whereas like Fadra ship has like all of Soda Boy and Tofu Man's like quality of life updates and extra quests and stuff that they've added to the server. Yeah, probably gonna do that at some point too. And yeah, hit me up. I'll add you to Team TOGP. Start finding them rare weapons to put into points so that we can get stuff like the dressing room. Oh, and what else is there? I feel like I'm missing something. It's probably my Twitter, which is the same handle as the Linktree, and I mostly repost stuff Colin posts.
I post things.
I do too. They're what Colin posts.
Neal, where can they find you outside the podcast?
Okay, well, you can always find me
Okay.
on my link tree, linktr.ee/vmk89. There's a bunch of links there, but I gotta quick add a postscript to my thing here because just happened to look. It looks like the Incredible Machine Mega Pack, which features 3 different Incredible Machine games, is 75% off on GOG for right now until a week after this episode goes live. So it only costs $2.50.
That's
All right.
value.
Yeah, that's really good. So that
Yeah.
Incredible Machines stream I'm talking about, it's gonna happen pretty quick after.
Incredible.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So buying it now. Like I said, Linktree, you can check that out. But also, this game's really good.
Nice.
Anyway, Colin, we're
I'm on Twitter at Delicious Morsel, and I'm also on YouTube at youtube.com/Delicious Morsels and youtube.com/@Delicious Morsels Music. Neal's been throwing up some visualizers of Final Fantasy songs lately.
oh yes.
Stocking up the channel, and yeah, and my cover of A Long Fall / The Twinning from Final Fantasy 14 also has a video visualizer up there that I threw together a visualizer for, kind of teaching myself how to do a couple things. I learned how to do the little circle mask thing, and I did something really fun with that.
Nice.
I can do circular masks now.
Congrats.
I still
Mask
have to
101.
I still have to Google it every time I want to do it, but I can do it. I'm probably
Wow.
gonna have to Google it the next time I go to do it too.
Eventually, you can do like the masks in the Final Fantasy ones, which are just the text of Final Fantasy zooming out.
Eventually.
Eventually, one day, Colin,
Eventually.
you'll get there.
One thing that's cool though is I did find somebody made a plugin for DaVinci Resolve that is basically like a drag and drop thing for the audio waveforms part.
Ooh, nice.
I haven't played with a lot of the features yet, but there's the basic waveform that you can have, and then you basically just drag and drop a wave file. Like, I don't even have to do that weird MIDI conversion thing that I had to do for a different method of that. You just drop a wave file. Yeah, you just drop a wave file in.
I've always used MP3s, or technically M4As,
well.
but yeah.
But you're also using a different software.
Yeah.
That's probably yeah. There's a little bit more of a process with DaVinci Resolve, but this plugin simplifies it a lot. So I've been playing around with some of my one-off covers and stuff, and then I might have been playing with a Chrono Trigger song, because speaking of my Chrono Trigger covers, I pulled them down. Well, I pulled them off of streaming platforms finally to make adjustments, resubmitted them, and they are live as of recording now again. So they're back. They sound better now. There were a couple issues with a couple of the songs that made it through my initial mixing process that finally I fixed, and I'm really happy with how they sound now. So you should go check them out. They're really good. Also, they are on Bandcamp. I think there's a link to my Bandcamp down below with all my other links. Deliciousmorsels.bandcamp.com. Slowly stocking that up. Same thing with the YouTube channel. Takes time. It's a process. You know how it is. Yeah. But anyway, as always, if you liked what you heard here today, please be sure to hit the subscribe button when it's an option. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, because I hear that like that stuff. Hit the like button if that's a thing. And feel free to share this episode with a friend. Also, I just remembered, as I was in the middle of reading that, our part 2 of my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth review discussion with our Discord community member and friend of the show, Jazzy, that will be live tomorrow as of the date of recording, but it will already have been live for a few days by the time this episode is live. So if you saw it in your feed and you hadn't listened to it yet, and you don't care about spoilers because this part is 100% spoilers, then go give that a listen, because it was a really, really fun chat. We basically just run through the entire story of the game and talk about our favorite parts and stuff. It was really, really fun. A really long chat, and it was a good time. But anyway, that's all. We're going to be back in a couple weeks with that one game, Phantasy Star Online.
Hooray!
But until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember,
All of your oxen have died.
oh no,
So don't ford the river? I don't know.
the Oregon Trail has failed. The Oregon fail. Goodbye, everybody.
You have died from dysentery.
Somebody educate this man.